Has it already been a month? Oh, hi! Chris the Frog here, host of Sewer Spewer, with another edition of my monthly series where I look back at new music that was released in the past month from Jojage, or so called Montreal, in so called Quebec, in so called Canada. And I'm still thinking about what to call this series. I was just thinking, Sewer Spewer, newer reviewer. Is that too much? So, when I first started this series, I thought I would be doing one version on YouTube and another version on TikTok slash Instagram Reels, and I'll just cover 4 or 5 releases. But this month, I have over 20 releases to talk about, so there's no way I'm going to be able to keep this under 10 minutes. So, I'm not going to worry about length anymore, and I'm just going to keep this as a YouTube exclusive. So in this video, I'll be talking about music that was released in March of 2025. I know the month isn't completely finished yet when I'll be dropping this video, but whatever is released in the next couple days that isn't covered in this video, I will carry on to next month's video, which is kind of what I'll be doing for the first couple releases I'll be talking about. So the first release I'll be talking about is Show of Bedlam and their new album La Cathédrale Engloutie. Now, online it says that this was released on February 24th, but that's when they received the vinyl in the mail, and they only announced this maybe early March. But Show of Bedlam are a doomy sludge metal band, and it's been 8 years since their last album, though some of the songs on this album were recorded as far back as 2015 and 2016. And certain songs on this album feature musical spots from the electronics artist Vroom, and the guitarist of Phobocosm, Samuel Dufour, and their former bassist, Ari. And I have Show of Bedlam's previous releases all on various physical media, and I'm hoping to get their new CD when they play at Bâtiment 7 on April 5th, next Friday, along with Enform and Womb, and the show will also have some flesh suspensions. So if you're a bit squeamish at seeing human skin being stretched to its absolute limit, maybe go out for a smoke break during that. Next, we have Hood Rats and their new 2-song 7-inch Cold as Ice, which was officially released physically back in February, but was only recently uploaded to streaming. Hood Rats are a garage punk band, and the recordings on this are a bit raw, but it really goes well with the kind of style that they are playing. And if you want to catch them live, they will be playing in the Fatale parking lot on April 11th, along with Shit Tax, The Pox, and The Defamed. Next up is Trou Noir and their debut EP, L'Odeurs Éthériques. Trou Noir are like a psychedelic rock jam band blended with post-punk. So if that intrigues you, you can go see their EP launch on April 13th at Quai des Brumes with Soleil Saint-Jean and Fox and his friends. Next we have Sunwell and their second EP, Sunshine, etc., which blends indie and shoegaze and punk. And I really like how loud the guitars are mixed with these sweet and melodious vocals. It really gives me a warm feeling inside. And I want to give a thanks to Ben for emailing me about this release. And Sunwell will be playing an EP release next Friday, April 4th at Hemisphere Gauche with new release Burn Babies and Antenna 93, who we'll be talking about later on in this video. Next up is Shunk and their debut album, Shunkland. And I don't really know how to categorize Shunk's music. I guess post-punk is the closest thing, but they go from these ethereal operatic moments to this very bizarre experimentation. So there's a lot of variety in this and a lot to sink your teeth in. Coming up, we have Void Chaser and their new EP, Trust. Void Chaser are a spacey prog metal band with members from Montreal and Stockholm, and this EP is the final chapter in their EP trilogy, which follows a space traveler as they go through various trials and tribulations. And there's a lot of instrumentation on this EP from horns and strings, and it's really quite impressive. And they'll be playing the first edition of the upcoming festival Prog Storm at Le Ministère on August 8th, so check them out. Next is the new demo from Tensor, which is a new grind noise band with members of Max Power, Profane Order, Rivaled Envy, and more, and it is available on cassette through Mouth of Madness tapes. Next is Scuse and their debut EP, Content d'être là. Scuse are a new Franco skate punk band with kind of that classic 90s sound, so I'm sure they're in regular rotation at my previous network, punkrockradio.ca. Next is Grave Within, and their new demo, Sentenced to Submission, which is available through Be About It Records. Grave Within are a death metal band, but they are very active in the hardcore scene, so you know it's got the riffs, you know it's got the breakdowns, and you know it has the bravado of a hardcore band. Then we have Sistema de Muerte with their debut self-titled EP, which is available on cassette through A World Divided. Sistema de Muerte is a new Latino punk band who are filling the void left behind by other bands such as Totalnada and Bosque Rojo. And they will be playing a Mayday show at Bâtiment 7 with Jetsam, Union Thugs, Lee Reed, Confusion, Sentai Dub Attack, and rapper El Ro. Okay, we have reached the halfway point, and now we'll be talking about Heaven's Cold Hands and their debut self-titled EP. Heaven's Cold Hands are a new metalcore band with members of Cloned Apparition, One Track Mind, and Glint. And there were some Christcore allegations purely based on the name of the band, but the band has denied those accusations and posted lyrics to their song Six Souls Taken, where they talk about turning their back on Christianity. And Heaven's Cold Hands will be playing a show on April 11th at the NDG Legion with a Morning Star from Vancouver, Kennedy, To Even Exist, and Crosscheck, who we'll be talking about later on. Next is Time Ghost and their new album, Forked Tongue on a Forked Road. And musically, this release is all over the place. There's post-punk songs, there's a jazz song, a jangle pop song, a surf rock song, and there's even a doom metal song. And the album cover is a reference to their song Snake Whip. And when they play this song live, Time Ghost whip out these plastic snakes and just fling them all around like they're Pentecostal preachers. Next is a band that I previously mentioned in this video, Antenna 93, and their second EP, Industrial Kitchen. Antenna 93 are a post-punk noise rock band, and they really embrace that latter subgenre on the closing track of this EP because it just gets super noisy near the end and there's lots of feedback and static. And once again, I want to give a shout out to the wizard, Jordan Barillero of No Fun Audio, who mastered this release. Coming up, we have Private Lives and their second album, Salt of the Earth. If you didn't know, Private Lives are a garage punk power pop project which is fronted by Jackie, formerly of the band Pale Lips, along with her husband Chance on guitar, who also plays in the band Priors, and he brought in Priors' drummer, Drew, as well as Josh on bass, who also plays in a project called Plastic Act along with the drummer Drew. And there will be a launch party for this album on April 3rd at Casa del Popolo, along with New Vogue and Shapes. Next, we have Desecrate and their debut album, Without Fear of Consequence. And honestly, this month, the capital H hardcore scene have been eating good with banger after banger of new releases. And on this album, there's features from members of Bruiserweight, Scorching Tomb, Numb, and frickin' Scott Vogel of Terror. And on that note, next we have the 2025 two-song demo by Full Counter, who are a new metallic hardcore band, and you can catch their first show next Friday, April 4th, on the cabaret stage of Foufoune Electrique with Apes from Quebec City, Final Form and Dominate from the UK, and locals Cesspool. Taking a brief break from the hardcore releases, we have psychedelic rock band Othello Tunnels and their debut EP Tunnel Rock, which is available through Petit Village Records. If you need something a bit heavier, there's Storming Strikes and their debut EP Thrash Remains, and if that title isn't a dead giveaway, Storming Strikes are a new thrash metal band with an old school sound. And then there's Matora and their second EP, simply called Matora 2. And Matora are a queer melodic punk band. And I want to give a shout out to one of the members of the band, Tommy, who I used to play in a ska band with back in the day. So I'm glad they're still doing music. And we are back with the hardcore releases with Crosscheck and their new EP, If You're Not Afraid, Then Why Are You Shaking? Which is available through Be About It Records. And I really like Crosscheck's take on hardcore, especially with a subgenre, which is often a regurgitation of the same old formula. I feel like they're offering something very unique, particularly with Hannah's vocal style. And I find the lyrics are a bit more introspective than the usual aggression and talk of betrayal. Also, this was recorded and mixed by Grayson Carpenter, who sings in the band Bruiserweight. And I actually interviewed Grayson recently for my exclusive podcast, Sewer Stewards. So go check that out on my Patreon page. Last but certainly not least is the horrorcore queen herself, Backwash, and her new album, Only Dust Remains. Now, this album is a bit of an outlier from the previous releases that I've been talking about because it's not really within the punk metal realm that I usually dabble in, but there are some heavy industrial elements in Backwash's beats, and her corpse paint aesthetic is very metal inspired. And honestly, I'm just such a fan of everything she does. I didn't find this release as heavy as some previous releases that she's done, but overall it's just an excellent release and really dives into some anxieties that a lot of people have been having about this current political climate. And Backwash will be doing a launch party for this album on April 18th at La Société des Arts Technologiques, along with Fernie and Magella, who also has a feature on this album. So that's it. If you've gotten this far in the video, thank you so much for watching. And if you want to hear music from most of these artists that I mentioned, then go check out the playlist that I made over on Spotify. Or if you're boycotting Spotify, I also made a playlist on YouTube. I will be back next month with yet another video talking about new releases coming out of Montreal. But in the meantime, go follow me on social media on Facebook, Instagram, and on TikTok for weekly updates about all the shows happening in Montreal. And also be sure to subscribe to me here on YouTube. And if you want to continue to support me, then go check out my Patreon page at patreon.com/sewerspewer. And there you can find the previously mentioned podcast called Sewer Stewards. And I also have a master list of all the future Montreal shows, and you can get access to all of that for only $2 a month. So once again, thank you very much for watching. Go out there and support your local scene. And until next month, ribbit ribbit.